Lisbeth.
Come on in.
Can you tell me how you got started making monoprints and why you love them so much?
Well, I was in the city. I was painting in the city, mostly works on paper. This is even before I started painting the city itself. And I saw a class at Parsons called monoprinting, and I was very curious about it because I'd heard some great things about it. It might suit my style of work. And I took the class, which I never do, and the instructor's name was Janice Loeb. She was great, and we did this deductive monoprint method, which I still use today, which I'll demonstrate in a little while. And I did a drawing of this Long Island landscape, and we did a print, and it was good. And here's that print, one of my first prints ever, monoprints, 1992, April 1992.
That's gorgeous. What is that all?
This is the North Fork of Long Island.
Wow, nice.
It's flat. It's very flat out there. But you can see what I mean about the process. Like, all this was just me, not even knowing what I was doing. Craziness. I just loved it. And then these are a couple of landscapes. A year later, I'm doing a series of road paintings now, and this is just a driveway actually to a house, and I love the way all the marks. This one's crazy. This is from my hometown, Eastport, Maine.
They're so gorgeous. That's my favorite.
It's so wild. I'm not that wild anymore. You'll see, I'm a little more contained in my old age.
It's so great that I get to see this because I don't really have a firm grasp of what your process is. So I'm so glad to be here so you can show it to me. So I didn't quite get it.
Well, Jenny, you start off with a plexiglass plate, and this is going to be the drawing. This is like a piece of paper. Consider this is the piece of paper. Okay. And I tape it down on my drawing wherever I'm working because I'm going to roll up the whole plate with ink. I'm not actually going to do this because it's a terribly filthy job.
Yeah.
Too much of a cleanup. But I roll up the whole plate with ink, and then I pull out the image with rags and cheesecloth.
Oh, so you just basically the rags and the cheesecloth.
Yeah,
is your
it's
paintbrush.
a little bit like the white is underneath, and so these are demonstrations for my printmaking. When I teach printmaking, these are quick demos, and you can see that the whole thing was inked up, and then I went back in with the rags and did the negative space. Actually, the light is the rag work, and then I would go back in and redraw and then pull it back out and back and forth and back and forth. So that's the process. Deductive monoprinting.
I understand.
So this is, I just taught a class on the Cape actually last week, and this was the demonstration that I did for my students. I have to work really quickly. All three of these are demonstrations for my printmaking classes, and I do them in about 20 minutes, just to give them an idea of how I want them to approach my process.
I see. All has become clear for me now. So, how do you get your ideas for your work?
Well, these days, I've gone from painting the city, the streets of the city, to painting people that happen to be walking in the city, mostly in motion. It seems to be something I can just pick up, and it's become a real passion with me. So my people, when I first started painting the city, were this big in a big painting, and now they're the whole painting. And I use my own. I work for my own photography. So I was visiting some friends in Williamsburg, and I got up really early one morning and wandered onto 9th Street and Bedford, and all these people started going to work, all these hipsters, everybody started going to work, old people, and I just started shooting with my iPhone, and I got a whole body of work from this, and this is the 5th painting from that corner at that time of day, which was like 8 a.m. And I'm pretty much done with this corner now, but it was kind of interesting for me to do to use the same thing with different things going on. Like there's a guy walking his dog in one of the paintings. You can see all this on my website. So that's what I'm into these days.
So you haven't just done New York City, I see. You've been to a few other places.
Yeah, in 2004 I went down to Havana because I wanted to do a whole new series of work on another urban environment with a lot of sun. And I flew in illegally from Montreal. And this is one of the many monoprints that I did from that time. I did maybe 15 paintings and maybe 15 monoprints from that whole trip. I was there for a week, just the city of Havana. And I particularly like this one just because I captured this guy in the orange shirt. I just love the way his leg, you can't really tell it's a leg until you can tell it's a leg, and it couldn't be anything else. So I'm really kind of fond of this this monoprint particularly, and the after painting the city for all those years, the light down there was just so incredible, incredibly different. It was really fun to do it, the sun-baked golden tones. And then a couple of years ago I went to Barcelona, and I did a woman walking down the street. I followed her down the street with my iPhone, and she finally turned around and gave me the wicked lie, yelled at me and told me to get lost in Spanish, but I got a great picture of her.
So let's talk about these prints we see on the wall here.
Well, I'd love to talk about these prints that we see on the wall because they're brand new. I just did them in May, end of April, and I did them in Venice, Italy, which was an amazing experience for me. It's something I'd wanted to do for a long time, and I finally pulled it off. There's a print shop there. It's called the Scuola Internazionale di Grafica, and you can apply for a residency, and they will give you an apartment and access to their amazing print shop. And artists from all over the world come there, and I was lucky to get accepted. It did cost a small fee, but it was well worth every euro. And I did 10 monoprints while I was there. I worked every day. I did 2 prints a day. And I'm very happy with this work, and it's all new imagery from the spring when I was in the city, 7th Avenue South mostly, in the friend's house in City Line, Brooklyn. I did 10 prints while I was there, and I gave one to the Scuola because the artists, that's just kind of the thing they do. You do, and they have a show at the end of the year of all the resident artists who were there. And these prints are now going to be shown at the Franklin Stage Company, which opens on August 5th in Franklin, New York. There's a reception open to the public. It's going to be there's going to be music and wine, and it's going to be quite nice. So if you're around, I think it's from 5 to 7 on August 5th, Saturday, and these 9 new prints will be there. And I also want to just say that I do these prints, and I'm going to turn a lot of these into oil paintings. This already is an oil painting, that guy and that gal, but a lot of these other ones are going into oil paintings. And an example of that here is, here's the monoprint that was done in Venice, and here's the painting I did since I came back. So it's a little different, the photography is a little different, but it's just, I like to lay it out with the black and white, and then I go back in and put the color in, although for my oil paintings, there's not a whole lot of color in that painting, but there's more than you can think. And
great. So what about these 2 prints here?
These are brand new. I did them last week. I taught a printmaking class up at Castle Hill, and the press was open in the afternoons. There was no class, so I was able to do some of my own work. And again, it's this theme of people walking, but this is a full-size sheet of paper, so this was pretty tricky, inking this whole thing up and then doing these drawings and getting the drawing right. Pretty happy with the drawing. This one is going to need a little more work. I like to go back in. I will mix up the background color and some more black and adjust the drawing a little bit. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with these. They came out pretty well for the first time off the press.
This is my favourite. This guy looks like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. Really pensive. So tell us about your exhibition history.
Well, I have a main gallery. I've been with her for 20 years. Marla Rice, she runs the Rice Pollock Gallery in Provincetown, and she has been with me. She has shown my work since I first started doing oil painting, which was about 20 years ago. And I won't have a show there this year, but I will have a show there next year, and some of this new monoprint turned into oil paintings. Those oil paintings will go to her. I'm also very busy this year. I've got 3 solo shows. One's up at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill right now with some new monoprints and new oil paintings. The Franklin Stage Company is going to show the new monoprints from Venice, and I'm in a solo show at Mural, which is a small gallery in Hobart, and it's a little mini retrospective, and that's up right now through the month of September. And then I have a show in Ithaca of the new paintings and monoprints in November. So it's very busy. I'm very busy. I'm happy to say.
Excellent.